Hello again, I'm back with another video. This time I have come dressed for the occasion because I'm going to talk about one of my personal obsessions of the last 30 years and a bit of local history from where I live, which has had an influence far and beyond this small corner of southeast London. So it goes back personally for me many years when I first started to listen to lovers rock reggae music on the radio when I was a teenager, and listening out for compilations, things like that, picking up tunes here and there. And then I think it was about 2004 this compilation came out, the Lovers Rock Story, which told the fascinating story of the famous Lovers Rock label, which gave this style of music its name, and some of its big stars, its big early stars, and set me off on a mission which only recently I have sort of completed, which is to try and get as many of these records as I can. It was sort of easy, it wasn't so expensive before. Now it's quite difficult. A lot of these records are quite pricey, quite sought after, so I've had to pay more than I'd like for a couple of them. But this has been a project over 25 years, so it's anyway, it's a complete obsession for me, and I'll try and explain what I mean by that. So I'll try and do some little musical interludes every now and again, but I will make a playlist to go with this video, and I'll put a link to it so that you know what I'm talking about, because I'm going to talk about a lot of records and they're probably not going to be that interesting to look at, but it is quite a beautiful label, so maybe I'll mention a bit about that as well. So Upper Brockley Road, if you go down it, it looks like a fairly normal suburban street, connects to Lewisham Way, sort of between Brockley and Deptford. But in that street there was a shop front which had a basement underneath it, which is where a gentleman called Dennis Harris and his partner Elsa Redwood set up a shop, and they did various labels. Perhaps the most famous one they did, they sold various things, I think, but they had record labels as well. And I think their most well-known label, certainly in the early years, was called Dip Records, and they licensed a lot of Jamaican records in the UK. Notably, I had a big hit with this one. This is Curly Locks by Junior Biles. Fantastic mellow reggae tune. That's the version on the Dip label, and you will see that is a relevant song later on. They did lots of other things. House of Eve, there's TT Ross, was another label they had. Eve Music was like their publishing company or something like that, I'm not quite sure. There's another TT Ross, No Charge, and this is the Lucky label. There's a it's Roy Shirley, that is, The Heart of the Battle, a bit more rootsy, that one. And there's a Cassandra, who will be another one of the big artists, Kiss and Say Goodbye. That's the Lucky label, House of Eve, Dip. Those were the big records they had. Then before we get to the Lovers Rock label, as we know it, there was also a kind of proto Lovers Rock label called Lovebird, and they released 12 inches rather than 45s. A lot of familiar names though were releasing tunes there. So we have Cassandra, Love Affair, nice tune. Precious Precious, again that's Cassandra. This quite a sought after one, Tonight is the Night, Cassandra with TT Ross. And there's another TT Ross one, I won't take it out of its sleeve, Won't Watch It Again. These are all big 12-inch releases that they had, but none of them I don't think were massive hits. The big thing starts when they do the Lovers Rock label, but let's have a bit of something from the Lovebird label first.
Check it out, check it out. Please love affair. Check it out, check it out. Please love affair. One is on the money, two is supposed side.
Okay, so let's move on to the famous Lovers Rock label. In 1977 is when it all started, and it only really went on until the year after that, 1978, and I'll explain why in a bit. The first big tune came out of a plan they had to audition some new singers, and they did these auditions. Various people came along and presented themselves, and from some of the singers they found, they decided to form a group under the watchful eye of John Kpiaye, who was like the main production guy, guitarist. I'll talk about him in a bit later. And he had this idea to make some tunes with this group. And when he spoke to them, one of the members, Karen Wheeler, turned out to be a big fan of roots reggae. And so they went for a slightly more rootsy option, although it was about love songs. So I told you this tune before, I showed you Curly Locks by Junior Byles. Well, they did an answer record, which turned out to be a big hit, and that was I'm in Love with the Dreadlocks. And that was their first big hit. So big, in fact, there are various represses and alternative versions of it. And that was a massive hit. And they kept with that kind of slightly conscious, rootsy love sound that they had for this release as well. And I'll show this one because it's a nice one. We can see a picture of the group there. There's Karen Wheeler. There's Carol Sims, better known as Kofi. And then there is Pauline Catlin. Okay, and this is their big hit, Black Pride, which I think the kind of music that was coming out, the people here, the children of people who'd come as immigrants from the Caribbean, particularly from Jamaica. This was a real statement of pride of that first generation of people who'd grown up in the UK. And I think that's a very well-loved tune because of that. After Brown Sugar, all of those artists went on to their own things, and I'll show some of that here. Karen Wheeler obviously had big success with Soul to Soul, but she also kept in on the reggae. Here she is. This is under a different name, Melina Carone, but it is actually her, Karen Wheeler, singing this amazing song, Special Kind of Love, really sought after 12-inch that. Then you've got Kofi, obviously, who had big hits with the Ariwa label later on. Carol Sims was her real name, but she was an original member of Brown Sugar, and she does some versions of the famous Brown Sugar hits. She does a version of Black Pride here. And the other member of the group was Pauline Catlin. And this is a later Brown Sugar version. I'm afraid it's a bit scrubby because somebody's written on the label here. I can't read it very carefully. But it's that song here, I'm So Proud, the Impressions song, done very nicely here. It's credited to Brown Sugar, but it's actually Pauline Catlin, I think, doing most of the singing on that one. This one later came out on the Studio 16 label with Winston Edwards. They did a lot more tunes with her, I'll talk about that later. And just showing some more Lovers Rock label releases as well. Pauline had a sister called Carolyn, and she released this classic, Peaceful Woman. I think it's a Marcia Griffiths song originally, but absolutely fantastic tune. Great version, that one. Incidentally, another great name who I haven't really mentioned yet, Dennis Bovell, Mr. Lovers Rock. He was on everything during this period, and he produced a lot of the stuff. He was the engineer, recorded a lot of the music, and he actually does a version of that Carolyn Catlin tune, credited to African Stone, and it's called Choose Me. But it's Dennis Bovell singing with a very high-pitched voice, unusually for him. I need to stop in a minute, maybe put on another bit of music. Carolyn also did some songs with a guy called Roland. I don't know what. I Admire You. That one does come with a picture sleeve. Sadly, I don't have that, so still got on the hunt. Still got to keep on the hunt. And this one, She's Having My Baby. That's Ronald and Carolyn as well. How are we doing? Well, let's just talk a bit about John Kpiaye, better known as Brownie T. He was the you'll see he does the versions of all of those Brown Sugar tunes. He was an eminent guitarist, and he appears on lots of great records from that period and before. Here's a nice little one that he did I really like, called Magnet Rattler on the Magnet label, and a really lovely one. This is actually a B-side to one of the earlier songs. This is on the Lucky label from 1976. This is Cassandra, more of whom later. Her first version of Love Me Sweeter Tonight, the B-side, is a really nice, just instrumental guitar copy, credited to 7 guitars, but it's John Kpiaye playing, and it's this version of Fleetwood Mac's Albatross. Really nice. I think we need to listen to a bit of that. Haven't stopped yet. There's more, I'm afraid. Going back to Brown Sugar, this was their I think this was their second record, and again was a massive hit. Hello Stranger version of the Barbara Lewis classic. There's loads of versions of that tune, but this is a particularly good one, I think, really good. Again, there's quite a few label variations on this. This is the only one I've got, because this is a really tough one to find, very expensive usually, which is odd because it was a big hit, but not that big, I suppose. And here's a rare one by Brown Sugar, Do You Really Love Me? There you go. Lovely, nice little, sweet, naive sounding little tune. That. Obviously, that's years, and I mean years of collecting all of those. Pretty crazy, and I wouldn't like to think if I added it all up how much I'd spent. It would probably be quite a lot. But you don't really have to do it now, because thanks to the people of Soul Jazz, they released this very well received compilation, and it's got all of the great hits of Brown Sugar from the Lovers Rock label, but also from Studio 16. It's great. Nearly all the hits, but not all of them. They're missing 2 tunes. One I'd never even heard, but I've seen that it exists, which they released on the Lucky label, which I don't have. And another one which was available only on a Lovers Rock 12-inch, which you don't see at all, and that is their version of Free by Denise Williams. That is a very sought-after record. Fortunately, it has been reissued, notably on 45 by Backhatcher. Supposedly this was a Japan-only release, but lots of copies seem to have found their way to the UK. I found this in a shop. And they did a 12-inch version, which was a bit easier to get your hands on, and it includes Free by Brown Sugar. Really lovely version, great production, that lovely John Kpiaye sound with his guitar. And interestingly, on the other side, we get, no, not on the other side, on the same side, we have Cassandra again. And this is her alternate version of Love Me Sweeter Tonight from the Lucky label, which they've re-released here. If you're an obsessionist like me, you have the original 12-inch. There you go. That is her second version of Love Me Sweeter Tonight. They're very different versions of that tunes. I love both of them. This one's a bit more slick and soulful. The other one's a bit more old-time rock-steady reggae, but really nice, all of them. Absolutely love them. And Cassandra, let's talk about Cassandra, because she's one of my absolute favourites, and most of her biggest records are from the Lovers Rock label. This is a lovely version of Millie Jackson, If You're Not Back in Love by Monday. So nice, I had it twice. It's one of those ones. I'm obsessed. I did say that, right? Yeah, really nice version of that. Really lovely, perhaps my favourite tune by her, On a Picture Sleeve. This is I'll Never Let You Go Out of My Life. Hard to find that picture sleeve. And there it is. Seen better days, that one. Multiple versions of that one available as well. You can get it on the Lucky label. Never Let You Go. And this one also, they tried to make it a bit of a pop hit, so it got a release on Decca Records. This is the promo Decca. You can get the blue label Decca one as well, which I don't have, so still a reason to keep looking. So 3 versions of the same tune. If you want to know which one sounds best, it's that one. It sounds really loud and well cut. The other ones sound a bit quiet. And a really rare record here. This is the 12-inch extended mix of that tune, Never Let You Go by Cassandra. Absolutely wonderful, wonderful stuff. Love that one. You can get a bootleg white label, which I had originally. Yeah, to get the original was, I saw the opportunity and I just couldn't say no. And it didn't actually cost me that much, which is what's crazy. I love that song so much. I'm even just going to give you a little taste of it.
I've never been in love before till I met you. I never felt this way before till I met you. Every little thing that you say makes me wanna run to you, baby. And every little thing that you do makes me wanna keep loving you. I wanna keep loving you.
Okay, more Lovers Rock. I'm not finished yet. This is another very rare one. Vivian Clark, Come and Take Me. Hard one to find. That was very pleasant though. And then we get on to the other big star who I've mentioned but I haven't talked about that much, and that is T.T. Ross. Originally from Ireland. She started out recording records, I think, with Dip or with Lucky and one of those earlier labels with Dennis Harris. But she had other ones. There's I Will. It's quite a big hit. 2 copies of that one. That's one of the easiest ones to find. It's not great, but that's probably why. This, which some people like, personally, I really can't stomach this tune too much. This is her version of Imagine. I'm not a big fan of the John Lennon original, but you got to have it because I've got all of the 45s. So if you're going to have all the 45s, you've got to get the ones you don't even like that much. But when it comes to T.T. Ross on the Lovers Rock label, my absolute favourite is this thing, which is an LP, one of the very few LPs that exist on the Lovers Rock label. And this is T.T. Ross. Unfortunately, it never came with a cover, I don't believe. I've never seen a cover for it. It's just called the Lovers Rock Showcase, Volume 1. I don't know if there was ever a Volume 2. It's got quite a few of her hits. So I think I Will is on there, No Change, and some of the other songs that had come out previously. But the really good tunes on here, which you want to check out, are... I'm going to take it out of its sleeve so I can read them. That's on the other side, isn't it? Walk Through This World, absolutely fantastic. Very nice saxophone on that one as well. And a really blinding version of More by Andrea True Connection, with that beautiful John Kpiaye guitar just burning its way through the beginning. It's so good, I'm going to have to do a needle drop of that because it's not available on YouTube. I've been talking so long, my phone is running out of batteries now, but I promise we're near the end. One unusual thing, and this is the last 45, it's the 45 that I got last, that completed the collection of all the Lovers Rock 45s for me. It's not even a reggae tune, it's actually a disco tune by a group called Afro Connection. The tune is called African Woman. It's not a reggae tune, it's not a Lovers Rock tune, but it's on the Lovers Rock label. And that's a little curious thing. Lovebird, the proto lovers rock label that they had. They had a lot of calypso tunes released on that label. And for the 12 inches, there's a lot of 12 inches. And a lot of the 12 inches are not that great, to be honest. This is, I think it's George Clark or somebody. I forgot what his name is. JJ Brewster, I beg your pardon. JJ Brewster. It's all right. A lot of the 12 inches contain the sort of old timers, what they call mums and dads music. Some of it's good, some of it's okay, but not so good. But that's it. There is another compilation that was released at the time. I can't remember what it's called though. It's got a red cover with a big red heart on it. I don't have that one, so I've got to keep collecting, I suppose, and keep looking. But yeah, that's pretty much everything. Why did the label last only 2 years though? Well, there was a tragedy. The basement where they recorded everything, where they had this very basic rudimentary studio with, I think it was just a 4-track recorder, it got flooded. And with it went a lot of the equipment and a lot of the master tapes of a lot of the music they recorded. So after that, I don't know if Dennis Harris really got back into the music business side so much. Eventually, he retired back to Jamaica, and I think he must have passed away by now. Dennis Bovell is still going strong, and John Kpiaye. You'll find them on the internet, and if ever you get the opportunity to see a Dennis Bovell interview, it's always worth watching because you could listen to him for hours. And that's basically all of what I've got here. This is my obsession, and that's 20-30 years of collecting these things. I've now finally got all the 45s. I could go, there's still a few little things I'd like to have, but it's just stuff, isn't it? The most important thing is listening to the beautiful music. So if you ever get the opportunity to track down that CD, I would definitely check that out. It's definitely worthwhile. And this is a beautiful chapter in British music history, in South London music history, something that I don't think gets celebrated enough. And so I thought I'd show off some of my records and pay it a bit of tribute that way. Anyway, this is probably going to be quite a long video, but I hope you stuck through. Do check out the playlist. Until next time, all the best.